Mistakes happen. But when you're buying home insulation, mistakes can end up costing you big time. From over-focusing on R value to hiring the wrong insulation contractor. I'm going to break down for you some of the most common insulation buying mistakes that homeowners make. All right, friends, let's just jump right in because there is a lot to discuss. First and foremost, I want to talk about R value because that's all anybody wants to talk about is R value, right? But if you're over focusing on that number, there's a whole other aspect that you're missing. Now, foam insulation, for example, it creates an air seal. That air seal is actually more important than the R value because that means the insulation performs better. That's why foam insulation can actually pass building codes, not based on the prescriptive R value that the code enforcer is looking for, but because of the performance of the foam. The air seal created by foam insulation, all of that air that you're paying to heat and cool stays inside right where you want it, and it keeps those outside elements out, making your home more comfortable and energy efficient. Now, if you're focusing on going with the cheapest option, you're honestly getting what you pay for. The cheapest option isn't always the best option, obviously, when it comes to performance. Another thing to keep in mind is that if it's cheaper, it's probably a lower quality, which is going to cost you more money in the long run due to air leakage, the amount of times that you have to pay to replace the material, upkeep it, and things like that. Now, this one comes down really to research if you're choosing the wrong insulation for the job. You're not going to want to put something that retains moisture in an area like your crawl space that may have moisture issues. It's really important to do your research and make sure that the insulation that you choose fits where you need it to go and doesn't cause any added problems or stress down the road. If you fail to do the research on your insulation contractor, that could lead to a lot of problems. It's very important to vet anybody that you plan on coming into your home to do any type of work, but specifically in this case, when we talk about insulation, you want somebody who's experienced, who is the expert in the insulation they plan on installing in your home, and you want to go through and check Google reviews. It's always important to go back and see what other people are saying about the contractor to make sure that you don't get duped. Now, let's be honest. It's always good to know when to hold them and when to fold them, and that's absolutely true when it comes to DIY insulation. Now, some projects might be easier than others, but if you watch this channel, you know that sometimes trying to do it yourself can create a huge mess and nobody wants to deal with that. You could run into all sorts of problems if you try to do it DIY, from wasting materials, buying too much, not buying enough. There's a lot that can go wrong, and honestly, if it's not in your wheelhouse, you probably shouldn't attempt it. A premium product of insulation, it can do a lot of really cool stuff, but you can't assume that it's going to fix everything. Specifically, what about pests? So there are insulation materials that have pest repellents added to it. The real issue is, though, you should probably take care of that pest problem before you update your insulation, because even if there are repellents in it, they're just going to find someplace else to go in your house, and that's not doing you any good. Take care of that problem first, and then worry about updating your insulation. Another mistake that people make is that they want to completely soundproof a room, right? Maybe you just really like to play the drums. But I can tell you that insulation on its own, it's not going to work. It's not going to soundproof a room. To completely soundproof a room, there's a lot that goes into it, like special acoustic panels and flooring and things like that. And your insulation contractor probably doesn't offer those services. It's a totally separate thing. Now, if you're looking for sound dampening, there are insulation materials that offer that, but completely soundproofing, insulation on its own is not the vibe. Now, the mindset more is better is great when you're talking about cupcakes, cookies, or even ice cream, but not when we're talking about insulation. Buying too much, one, it's a waste of money. You only have to hit a certain number to create an air seal, or you only have to hit a certain number to hit your R value. When you start buying extra material because you think you're just adding to that R value to make it more efficient, that's not true, because actually what you're doing is you're cramming a material into a space, and once you start cramming it and it's not fitting in there perfectly, you're actually leaving huge gaps. Those materials are made to fit perfectly into the space, and you should cut them so they do fit perfectly. Wadding it in and trying to add more and more on top of it, it's actually just going to create more gaps and places for air to leak into your home, so it's not as efficient as you think it is. Now, on the flip side of that, not buying enough insulation is also obviously a problem, because then you're going to be left with gaps that have no coverage at all. You really need to measure once and then measure again to make sure that you have the correct amount that you need for the project. Now, a lot of this will fall on your insulation contractor, but it's something to definitely keep in mind, especially if you decide to hold them and do it as a DIY project. Either way, it's about buying the insulation, so just make sure that if you're buying it yourself that you are definitely measuring twice and that you have enough material to cover the area that you need to insulate. Now, you might think doing a hybrid method, like flash and bat, is a great way to have the best of both worlds. It's just a quick flash of 1 inch of closed cell, and then you put fiberglass on top of it. That's not how that works. 1 inch of closed cell, actually, it's not going to get you an air seal, so it's not really working the way that you would want it to, and the fiberglass still allows for air movement. You're better off not bothering buying the fiberglass and just paying for that extra inch of closed cell to create an air seal. Now, in some areas of your home, you may need more than the 2 inches to meet code, but in the long run, if you're trying to achieve an air seal, flash and bat's not the way to do it. These hybrid methods, they might sound good on paper, but in reality, they don't work as well as you think they will. Buying insulation is a huge investment, and doing it right the first time is going to save you money in the long run, so that you're not having to replace or spend more money on things that you don't need to spend them on had it been done right the first time. Now, if you're ready to talk to a professional about making your home more energy efficient and comfortable and just doing it once, check out the dealer finder on our website. There you're going to find RetroFoam dealers across the country who can help you make the right decision for your home. I'm your building science brainiac reminding you to bring a little science to every project.